Alright guys, we're back again with a new video, and today we're going to be doing something a bit different. We're going to be talking about Liverpool's game week 1 performance in the Premier League against Norwich. This is kind of going to be a bit like a new series. Like, I'm not going to be doing it for every game, probably every few weeks, like every 5 or so game weeks I will talk about Liverpool's performances in the time in which in between each video, I suppose. But I'm doing one for game 1 just to, kind of get the ball rolling, I suppose. So of course, first game back in the Premier League last season. I mean, to be perfectly honest with you, I think it was a complete write-off. All the shit that happened with injuries and whatever, no team will probably ever have to experience what Liverpool did last season in terms of their injuries and stuff. Just completely unlucky and just kind of mad overall. But anyway, Liverpool came back in with pretty much a full squad. The only players of note not in the squad probably just being Andy Robertson, who's out with an ankle injury, and the most important, in my opinion, Jordan Henderson. I don't think he's injured. I mean, he wasn't. I don't think he got injured in pre-season or anything like that. But whether it has something to do with the fact that he still hasn't signed the contract, which, by the way, I don't know who's over it, if it's FSG or if it's fucking negotiators within the club, I don't know, to get the fucking job done. They're actually the biggest load of bollocks as ever. They're signing contracts willy-nilly with everyone else. Your club captain, who has stayed with you for 10 years, he stayed through all the shit that we've had to go through in the past 10 years. When we've had to play up front with Mario Balotelli and Ricky Lambert, he's been there along the way. A very pivotal reason in the team that we were able to win as much as we did in the last 3 or 4 years. Get it fucking done. I'm not saying you have to fucking throw yourself on your knees to fucking sign him or whatever, but the man can't be asking for that fucking much. Apparently, I think it's just because he wants a fucking 5-year contract or something like that. And I get it, he's 30, but he deserves to retire at this club. He deserves to be given a 5-year contract. If it's something over money, I know the club has a wage cap, and I doubt Henderson's going to exceed it. He's not that kind of guy. But what goes on behind the scenes, obviously, I don't fucking know. But I think if it's a matter of just the time, why would FSG be like, no, we only want to give you this amount of time? That's bollocks, so it is. He's your club captain. It's actually unreal how retarded they're handling this situation. Not to mention with some of the other contracts. For example, the biggest one for me, which I think was complete bullshit, is they actually were thinking of letting Nat Phillips go. Genuinely, I'm actually dumbfounded. I would have him ahead of Matip and Joe Gomez. And to be honest, from watching pre-season, I'd have him over Konate as well. I think Konate is good. He kind of reminds me of Mamadou Sakho. He's a bit of a mullocker. He's a bit of a fucking... He plays like a bit of a child. He kind of... he plays like a Sunday League player at times. He's kind of launched himself into tackles. Don't get me wrong, he's very quick, strong lad. He's very fit. He has... naturally, he is built like a centre-back, and that's good. But lad, I rate Nat Phillips so much, and I wouldn't mind it, but Konate is supposed to be injury prone. Of course, we ended up spending money on him. I wouldn't have signed Konate personally. I would have just left it. I didn't think we need to sign a centre back, with the intention of starting in the team. And maybe that isn't Klopp's intention at all. Maybe he is coming in just as a backup. But I don't know. I think I was disappointed to not even see Nat in the squad. I think he deserves to be given more of a chance. For me, I think he was phenomenal in the games he played last season. I think it's just bullshit that he's not being given a chance. But anyway, the game. I'm just gonna go through each player's individual performances and just kind of overall what I thought the team done well. Starting off, of course, in goals with Alisson. He didn't have a whole pile to do, but in all honesty, if you really look back at the game, some of the best chances came for Norwich, and to be very fair to Alisson, he handled it all very well. He had 2 or 3 really good saves, one especially with 5 minutes to go. He made a double save, literally from the 6-yard box. Kind of reminds me of the save he made against Napoli in the Champions League. In the Champions League group stage, put us through. It was a very nice save. Personally, I've said in the past I want to see Kelleher play more, and I still believe in that. And people might think that I have an agenda against Alisson. I think it's bad. I don't think Alisson is a bad goalkeeper. My only problem with Alisson, and it's always been this way, is his distribution. I think it's poor. To be fair, he didn't really put a foot wrong against Norwich. He didn't have a whole lot to do. That's my only thing with him, is that I think his distribution is just not good enough. But look, I'm hoping he can turn the tide, and to be fair, making saves like that should surely boost his confidence, but he's always been a good shot stopper. So even when he made those mistakes against City, he comes out against Leicester and makes some brilliant saves in that game. Yeah, he still made a mistake. I just think his distribution is his only problem, in my opinion, but hopefully it will improve. But overall, if I were to rate his performance out of 10, I'd 5 being the average, I would give it a 6. And because it might seem low or whatever, because he did, that was a great save, but he didn't have a whole pile to do. He wasn't average because he pulled off great saves, but he wasn't a pivotal reason as to why we won. He was a good reason as to why we kept a clean sheet, so I'm definitely going to rate him above average. But look, just 6 just seems right. 7 maybe if you're feeling generous, but I think 6 is bang on, to be honest. Right back, Trent. I think some people are licking his hole a bit with this performance. Yes, he played well, but it wasn't a world class performance. He got his crosses in, he defended well, done his job. It was just solid. He wasn't average, he was definitely above average, but he was just solid is the only way you could describe his performance. He'd done his job and that was it. Didn't do any more, and that might sound a bit nitpicky, I might sound bad, but I'm in a nice way. He was solid and that was it. So I'd also give Trent a 6. 7 pushing it, but 6 for me as well. Centre back first, Matip. I think again, another word to describe him, solid. Not much else to say. He got his tackles in, he wasn't really making mistakes. I give him a 6. I know I'm giving 6s all around, but it kind of was that sort of game. In all honesty, they just done their jobs. There are some players that will go a bit higher and go a bit lower. Trust me, we'll get to that a bit later. But another one, Van Dyke. Now, Van Dyke, his first competitive game back since Jordan Pickford decided to turn into a WWE superstar. He didn't do anything wrong. He didn't do anything extraordinary. Again, he done his job. That was it. He didn't do better than Matip. He didn't do. It's kind of. I'm not gonna say one done better than the other, because neither of them done anything to make me say I was better than this. They were both just whatever. So I'd give him a 6. I'm almost compelled to give him a 5. But they both done their jobs and that was it. The one thing I noticed though with Van Dyke is just when I was watching, at times I felt he didn't have much of a presence there. That might sound weird, but when I watched Van Dyke in the past, he always felt it was going to be near impossible for anyone to get past him. He was this fucking behemoth or something standing in the middle of the pitch. He had a good defensive presence. He felt like a fucking brick wall. When I was watching him against Norwich, I don't know what it was. I just didn't feel nearly as confident in him. Not I didn't feel nervous when anyone tried to take him on or whatever. He didn't feel the same, and it wasn't necessarily anything that he'd done. That was I just felt different watching him. Maybe it's because he's been out for a year, I don't know, but in my opinion, he just didn't feel the same, just presence wise. But he didn't put a foot wrong, so I'm not gonna say anything about that. He just done his job and that was it, as per usual. So I'm delighted for him. Big player to talk about now, Kostas Tsimikas, of course, the replacement for Robertson at the minute. I think some people are being very harsh on the kid. People also need to realise he's only played twice in the last year, and both of those were substitute appearances, because let's face it, Robertson the man is insane. He doesn't get injured. In fact, he actually did get injured last season, but it was just on international break as well, which is kind of mental. So Tsimikas didn't even get to play while Robertson was injured. But it's just, when I watch Robertson, he of course, Robertson, phenomenal left back, but he's very industrial, and he kind of has this he's a bit one-dimensional at times. Like he has a routine. Like it's kind of like I'll bomb down the line, I'll get the ball across then, and that's about it. And he's not very diverse. Now, I'm not like harsh on Robertson or anything. Like, he's phenomenal at what he does. In my opinion, the best left back in the world. But he's kind of, at times you'd almost think he's a one-trick pony, because he does the same thing over and over again. It doesn't matter though, because no one can really stop it. But what I saw with Tsimikas is that he's way more diverse when he attacks. Like, he can cut inside. He's got very good feet. Like, there was times where he was doing skills and getting by one or two lads at times. I was very confident in his ability to attack. And while he was defending, he was also good, because he's a very strong lad. He had a pair of balls and he played like a big man. But at the same time, that did cause him to do mistakes. Like, he was nonchalant at the back, lost the ball. There was once where he got turned inside out, but I think people were fucking focusing on that too much, because that can happen to literally anyone. The stuff like the nonchalance, that's on him. But I think we also got to understand that nonchalance that made a mistake like that is also the reason why he played so well. But stuff like that, like the nonchalance where he makes a mistake like that stuff like that will stop happening with more game time. And in all honesty, I'm delighted that he came out and played well. And I think people are harsh. I've seen people, when they do their player ratings, give him like a 5 or 4, and I think that's way too harsh. I thought he was way better than that. He created some great chances. His balls in were fucking amazing. No, I mean, they were in good positions and no one was there to put them in. But he played well. I think everyone is being way too harsh on him. Yeah, he made mistakes, and of course people do have a tendency to remember moments where people do bad and focus in on them, and yeah, it's not good. Like, it was and the one in particular where he just stands there and literally lets his man take the ball from him, it was stupid, 100%. But yeah, you got to also take into account the guy hasn't played at all last season. He's still young, but he showed a lot of positive play, and I think you got to remember that too. And I think definitely he will be contesting Robertson for that place. I don't know how Klopp feels about him as a player, because he doesn't bring him on at all. I mean, to be fair, Robertson isn't the sort of player you take off, because he is very consistent. He doesn't. It's very rare he has bad games, in my opinion. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, Robertson, at times he mightn't necessarily be like. There's often times, I can't even remember a time where he was the best player on the field in any game, but he's always there and he's always doing his job and he's playing decent. He doesn't often have bad games, in my opinion. So it's hard to shift a player like him out. But Tsimikas is good, and I'm confident that we will do fine on that left side without Robertson for like a month or something. I'm not too sure when he'll be back, but it is what it is. Time to go on to midfield, and in my opinion, by a mile, the weakest part of the team. We'll start off with Naby Keita. Look, I mean, apart from the fact that he's built like a Weetabix, he is a very talented player. No one can deny that. No United player or no United fan can say, oh yeah, he's a good player, he's got ability. But even I can admit, like, there are times where he can run around and he'll do nothing. And I thought today, or not today, but that game was one of those games he didn't really do a whole pile. I mean, like, he's good with the ball at his feet, but I don't know, I think just lack of game time, not just because probably because he's not good enough to get into that team, but just lack of not being able to play because of injury and stuff, it's not helping him. I don't think, I've seen people say Liverpool ruined him. I don't think we ruined him, injuries did, and that's not our fault. Like, there's nothing Liverpool can do about that. Is he suited for Liverpool? Honestly, I don't really know. I mean, I think he's a good player, but he doesn't show it in the game, so, and that's not good enough really. But shit, if I had to rate him 4, like, he was below average and that was it. If honestly, you could probably even give him a 3. You know what, yeah, I'll give him a 3. I thought he was really bad, just didn't do much at all. I forgot to rate Tsimikas actually, and if I were to rate Tsimikas, honestly, I'm giving him a 7, because I thought he's great potential, and I thought he done really well in that game. Yeah, there were mistakes, and to be honest, probably the only big mistakes made were by Tsimikas. There was only 1 or 2, but they were big ones. But still, like, he got saved in the end, but I think he was better than the other defenders, and that was it. Next midfielder though, Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain. Again, didn't get into the game. I think he's a good player, but also he just gets fucked up with injury. Yeah, like, he just didn't get into the game. I mean, Like, there genuinely is not much else to say about the midfielders. They just did not get into the game at all. Especially, like, attacking wise. Like, I mean, I don't even know if I can say Chamberlain was unlucky. He just didn't do much at all. Simple as, there's not much else to say about him because he done nothing. Milner, first 30 minutes or so he was doing grand. Like, he was doing his typical thing. Like, let's face it, he's not going to be a mad lad running up and doing the attacks and stuff. Like, don't get me wrong, he's a workhorse and he does go up for attacks and stuff, but let's face it, he was mainly there as more of a defensive player, and he was doing his job until he got booked in the 30th minute or wherever it was. And after that, there wasn't a whole pile that he could do. Like, I mean, there's only so much you can do when you're booked, but like, he wasn't exactly doing a whole pile attacking wise. He was doing more defensively, but still, it wasn't a whole lot. I can only give him a 5 because he wasn't above average. He wasn't bad per se. He didn't get into the game a whole pile, but he was definitely better than Oxlade-Chamberlain and Keita. Time for the forward, Sadio Mani. I think people are overrating his performance a bit. He didn't get into the game at all. I mean, there were probably moments, but when you're playing in a game like that for a team like Liverpool, you're going to have moments pretty much no matter what. But Mane really didn't do a whole pile with them. I will give him the benefit of the doubt though. When I watched him play last season, whenever he got on the ball, I would just be like almost anxious, because I was always like, Jesus, don't fucking run into someone and lose it. I didn't feel confident when he was on the ball. I would always hope that he just look up and pass it. But to be fair, when he got on the ball against Norwich, I did have a bit more confidence in him, because he looked himself more confident. He looked like he was able to take on players, and he did. Unlucky, I suppose, to not get a goal or an assist. I'm quite disappointed for him, because stuff like that won't do his confidence good. He needs to be getting goals and assists, and of course it's not down to everyone else to do it for him. He needs to work that himself. But honestly, I think a 5. He wasn't really getting, like, again, while I do think he's better than he is last season, he was inspired me with more confidence, he still didn't get into the game and didn't do much. So 5 is all I can give him. Jota, I mean, least amount of touches out of all the players on the field. That's including the goalkeepers at one point. He got his goal. I'm delighted for him that he got his goal. Like, one of the most important touches in the game. He did have one or two decent opportunities. Like, he had one header that was touched over the bar by Tim Krul, but didn't get into the game. I can't give him a 5, because I mean, he when he had the ball, he done well with it. Like, he got his shots off well. He did get a goal, but honestly, I can't give him more than a 6, because he wasn't exceptional at all. He was just meh, just didn't get into the game. Mo Salah, I mean, fairly simple stuff. Easily for me a 9 out of 10 performance. He was brilliant. And anyone that knows me knows that for the last few seasons, with the exception of his first one, I think Salah has been heavily overrated, especially by Liverpool fans. For me, my only real problem with him was that he was a selfish bastard. Like, he'd get into good positions to play the ball and he'd go for a shot. And my theory behind it is, like, he cares more for those individual titles like the Golden Boot than he does for the team's benefit, and at times it really did affect the team. And you can see, like, there was a reason that Mane was getting tick with Salah at times, because he was playing like a dickhead. But in all honesty, that performance there today was one of the only reminders that I had of the first season Salah, and I'm absolutely delighted. I'm hoping to God that he carries that on, like not just because he got 2 assists, but he, like, for the Firmino goal, he was in a position where he could have shot. Granted, it wasn't an amazing like opportunity shoot, but he laid off a good pass. One of the big ones was in the last minute. Now, this is the thing, right? Well, yeah, it was in the last minute. He had a great opportunity to shoot, instead tried to lay it off to Mane. If anything, the opportunity to shoot would have been the one he should have taken. It was a better chance to score than it was to try and play it across. But the fact that he tried to get his teammate a goal, it inspired me with just a feeling that I've never had about Salah in years, and in the fact that he's playing like a team man again. I fucking love that, because I don't like seeing Salah when he's selfish, because when he plays like a team player, he helps us so much, and that's one of the best performances he's had in ages. But the only thing is, though, like, the fact, like, it was in the last minute, the game was done, he got himself a goal already, Mane hadn't got anything. I'm also inclined to think that maybe he was doing that not because he's changed, but just because to keep Mane happy, I suppose. Even if you look at Salah's first assist, It wasn't really an assist. Like, if you look at the back, Alexander-Arnold plays the ball across to Salah. Salah tries to take a touchdown for himself and it goes wrong and it ends up falling to Jota and he scores. Now, like, I'm not going to like fucking just say, oh, he's only doing it to keep man or whatever. Like, whatever. It's a bit of a weird situation because look, in the first half we didn't get nearly as many opportunities as we did in the second. But to be fair, like in the second half, Salah really did play like a team player. He was looking to try and play others if they were in better positions, which I really liked. I'm just hoping to God that this isn't going to be a once-off thing. I want to see this for the rest of the season because I'm telling you, Salah will play miles better and he will get goals for it. Like, if he plays like a team player, the goals will roll in. I think, like, and I just think the evidence is there. Like, I mean, if you look back in his first season, he played like a team player and he got his goals and assists for it, and he hadn't, in my opinion, played any better since. But nevertheless, I was very impressed by his performance today. 9 out of 10, easily the man of the match for me. He was brilliant and delighted to see him play well again. I mean, of course, like, I'm not going to discount the fact like he has played well in games before this. Like, he gets his goals and all that, which is good. But I'm happy to see him play like a team player. It actually makes me fucking excited to see him play again because I'm hoping that he can do the same. Now for the subs that came on, we've got Fabinho first. He got his goal, pretty much the same as Jota. I got his goal and just didn't get into the game after that. Laid off one or two good passes, like for that Salah chance where he tried to lay off to Mane. Firmino got the ball and then started the counter attack with a great pass to Salah, and then you know the rest from that situation. But again, 6 is all I can give him. He did get his goal, to be fair to him, and it was a tap in as well. But he didn't really get into the game. Like, to be honest, I think I'm being generous giving him a 6. Like, a 5 is probably more fitting. But it's Bobby. Everyone loves Bobby, and when he gets his goal, it's a fucking amazing thing. So we'll give him a 6. Fabinho, another player people think I have an agenda against. If you don't know why, I made a video basically explaining the way I would line up Liverpool, and I didn't include Fabinho in it for a reason, by the way. There's no point really going into much detail, but essentially it's just because I wouldn't play as central defensive mid just by preference, and obviously if I was the manager, I have the choice to change it up if I want it, and if I'm playing a CDM, Fabinho goes straight in 100%. Yeah, I mean, I think Fabinho is good, overrated but good. He done his job. Like, he came on, he done all right. Like, I mean, like, he didn't really. Like, again, like, there's genuinely not much to say for what Fabinho done because he didn't do anything attacking, and in all honesty, he didn't really do much defensively either. Like, he was better than the midfielder he came on for, which I think he came on for Kaya. It was, and that doesn't matter because he plays CDM, and Kaya would have played more as an attacking midfielder. But anyway, what I'm trying to say is he didn't do much. Honestly, I think 5 is fitting for him because maybe even a 4. Like it might sound a bit harsh, but some of Norwich's best chances came after he came on, so clearly he wasn't breaking down play all that well, which is his job. And some people might think I'm being harsh, and if you do, that's fine, but I think 5 or 4, I'm kind of tied between the two. We'll give him a 4.5. That, again, if you think that's harsh, that's grand. I mean, if you want to let me know what you think about it, leave it down in the comments. But I don't know, I didn't think he was necessarily doing his job that well because Norwich's best chances came after he came on. And as a centre defensive midfielder, you need to try and stop that. It's not like he makes much going forward. Like, that's not his job. I don't expect him to do that. But if he's not doing one or the other, then it's hard to say that he done well. But you know, it is what it is. There was one more sub, Harvey Elliott, that's what it was, coming on for he came on for Oxlade-Chamberlain. I mean, he was alright. I mean, I'm hoping now. To be fair, I've seen him play with Blackburn. The only thing I had against him when he first came to Liverpool, I thought he had a bit of an attitude. Like, I thought he was a bit of a quote unquote baller, like, you know, the type of guy that kind of is like, yeah, I'm a bit of a baller, innit? Like you know, it's kind of like, all right, big man, you know, cut the hair a bit, yeah. And he's trimmed up. He looks like a very respectable young footballer, and he seems a bit more down to earth as well, and he done okay. Like, I mean, he didn't really create many chances. There was good little bits of play between himself and Salah, to be fair, out in that wing, but he was okay. I can only really give him a 5 because he didn't really contribute a whole lot to the forward play. He just had good bits of link up between some of the players, but that was about it. I mean, to be fair, the game was kind of dead at that point, so I didn't fully expect him to contribute a whole lot, but he done his job and I'm quite happy with him. Now we've rated the whole team, but to look at the game like as a whole, we're just going to go through this for like 2 minutes maybe. Hopefully no one has clicked off by now, but I'd say they have because I've been rambling for 25 minutes. But look, that's what I do with these types of videos, and I like to think that some of you guys do enjoy them. I mean, one of my football talk videos, the Sancho one, got a lot of views, a lot of dislikes. I don't even think people watch the video. I think they just saw it and just like, I'm going to dislike this kid's video and not listen to what he has to say because I'm a stupid prick. But anyway, we'll keep going. In the game, I felt that Norwich, to be fair, at first, just to compare them to the Norwich that Liverpool played 2 years prior, in the first game of the Premier League season for the 1920 season, Norwich were trash. They were 4-0 down at half time. This team, way different. They were a lot more solid at the back. Granted, they weren't fucking amazing, but they were better. Attacking wise, they were alright. Like, they made 1 or 2 opportunities. Granted, they were more from lapses of concentration from Liverpool and less from their own play, but there were times where they were doing well, making good link-up play with each other, but they weren't amazing. Second half, clearly the gas tank was a bit drained. They started to become a bit more, I'm trying to think of a word, but it's just gone ahead. They were just a bit more fucking worse. I'm trying to think of a word, but honestly, it's just all gone out of my head. But anyway, they weren't nearly as good in the second half. Clearly, once the fitness and just the gas tank dropped, it was gone. I mean, but that's where kind of Liverpool sort of pick up. Like, this game very much reminded me of the way Liverpool won games when they won the title. Like, if you compare Man City and Liverpool sort of results, like Man City would go and beat a team like Norwich 5-0 very comfortably. Liverpool normally, when playing a team like this, they would just play around, do their thing, and then when there's a lapse in concentration, they go in for the kill and pick up a goal or 2, and they might win 1 or 2-0. Like, they don't really hammer into teams. That's just not the way they do. But nevertheless, like, a win's a win. Like, that's like Liverpool pounce on that sort of thing. Like, they were a very fit team by comparison to most of the other ones in the league, and they done their job. Like, I mean, in my opinion, they were lucky to be 1-0 up at half time because the goal was lucky. Granted, it was coming. I think Liverpool were forcing the play a lot more when it came to attacking. Granted, though, I thought Norwich probably had better chances. Like, I mean, Teemu Pukki had a good chance. I think Rashica had one, but like, to be honest, like, it's kind of hard to remember who had chances for Norwich, to be perfectly honest. But I know Teemu Pukki had one. Todd Cantwell nearly scored a screamer from like 30 yards out. He spotted the keeper off his line and went for it, to be fair to him. But Liverpool were pushing the play a lot more, and goals were coming. But I mean, second half, I mean, look, as I said before, they just dominated and that was it. Of course, Alisson did make a good save to keep a clean sheet, and thank God he did, because that was another 4 points for Trent Alexander-Arnold in my FPL. Thank God it paid off because he didn't get an assist in that game, but a good performance overall. Of course, it's one game, so I'm not going to be like saying, yeah, Liverpool are going to win and we're going to win the Champions League like Heavy D, because I'm not a retard. It's one game, anything can happen. That's why I'm not scared of Man United beating Leeds 5-1, because Man United have good games. They could easily go in their next game and get battered 2-0 or something. Like, and so could we. That's why I'm not saying like, oh yeah, we're going to win the league or whatever, like, whatever. And I'm not worried about City losing to Spurs. I'm not worried about Spurs beating City, because games like that happen. But look, probably around Game Week 5 I might make another video like this. But anyway, I hope you guys did enjoy this video. Please don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next one.